is The Adventures of Old Mr. Toad, Chapter 5. Good morning, Lee and August and Louis and William and Elliot and not Winry. Winry's right here. Kaylee and Bert. And hopefully this will go well because I don't know how long Winry will sit on my lap happily, but we will try. And possibly Jack and Ethan.
Good morning, Grandma Autumn. Good morning, Grandma Autumn.
Okay. Never think that you have never learned all there is to know. That's the surest way to all ignorance to show. I found old Mr. Toad, cried Peter Rabbit, hurrying after Jimmy Skunk. Where? Demanded Jimmy. In the water, declared Peter. He's sitting right over there where the water is shallow, and he didn't notice me at all. Let's get Uncle Billy and then creep over to the edge of the Smiling Pool and watch to see if old Mr. Toad really does try to sing. So they hunted up old Uncle Billy Possum, and the three stole very softly over to the edge of the Smiling Pool, where the bank was low and the water shallow. Sure enough, there was old Mr. Toad with just his head out of the water, and while they were watching him, something very strange happened. What's the matter with him? Whispered Peter, his big eyes looking as if they might pop out of his head. If he don't watch out, he'll blow up and bust, exclaimed Jimmy. Listen, whispered Uncle Billy Possum. Don't my old ears hears right? 'Pears to me that the song is coming right from there Briar Toad is sitting. It certainly did appear so, and of all the songs the glad spring day there was none sweeter. Indeed, there were few as sweet. The only trouble was the song was too very short. It lasted only for 2 or 3 seconds, and then it ended. Old Mr. Toad looked quite his natural self again, just as commonplace, almost ugly as ever. Peter looked at Jimmy Skunk, Jimmy looked at Uncle Billy Possum, and Uncle Billy looked at Peter, and no one had a word to say. Then all three looked back at old Mr. Toad, and even as they looked, his throat began to swell and swell and swell, until it was no wonder that Jimmy Skunk had thought that it was danger of blowing up. And then, when it stopped swelling, there came again this beautiful little note, so sweet and tremulous, that Peter actually held his breath to listen. There was no doubt that old Mr. Toad was singing just as he had said that he was going to, and it was just as true that his song was one of the sweetest, if not the sweetest, of all the choruses from around the Smiling Pool. It was very... Well, Winry has the book. Hang on. Winry, I have to have the book. Here we go. It was very hard to believe, but Peter and Jimmy and Uncle Billy both saw and heard, and that was enough. Their respect for old Mr. Toad grew tremendously as they listened. How does he do it? Whispered Peter. With that bag under his chin, of course, replied Jimmy Skunk. Don't you see it's only when it's swelled out that he sings? It's a regular music bag, and I didn't know he had any such bag there at all. I wish, said Peter Rabbit, feeling it of his throat, that I had a music bag like that in my throat. And then he joined in the laugh of Jimmy and Uncle Billy, but still with something of a look of wistfulness in his eyes. That was Chapter 5 of The Adventures of Old Mr. Toad. And Winry is starting to lose it. Do you guys have anything to say quick?
Now my food over. And coffee.
Our streaky window.
I'm about my mom died, and I find my grandparents on the whole blanket.
Okay, is that it?
Put it on it, so and those over there.
The scones.
Already eating a stone. Mommy made it, and that big Lego boxes from Grandma Autumn's, and this is from Grandma Autumn's. No, they're not.
Is that it?
Go back. Stop. Go back. Let's go back. Let's go back.